Hi everyone, Bethany Time Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Mountain Goats album, Bleed Out. This is a brand new LP from John Darnielle's The Mountain Goats, actually their 20th full length, which sounds about right for one of the most prolific singers and songwriters of the modern era. The Mountain Goats catalog in its early stages was built on home recordings of one-take guitar performances, tape recorder buzz, and esoteric song topics, but since making the Mountain Goats more of a studio project, John Darnielle's instrumental ambitions have grown, and his songwriting has gotten a lot more big picture too, from unfolding deep layers of family trauma on the Sunset Tree, to cute topical excursions into things like wrestling and goth culture on more recent releases. Now, there have been a fair amount of drab and somewhat unfocused Mountain Goats records as of late too. I've kind of learned as a fan that at this point I'm not going to enjoy every one that comes out. I just hop on the ones that stop me in my tracks. And I'm happy to report that Bleed Out is one of those projects. It's an album that has a level of punch I've been wanting to hear again from the Mountain Goats for years now. And the two major elements that make this project stand out are, one, its lyrics, many of which seem to be inspired directly by tropes or scenes from old action movies, training montages, blood, battle. Even the sixth track on here gives a pretty heavy nod to the first Rambo movie. Then there's the instrumental side, because John christens this new narrative direction with a lot more electric guitar than we are used to hearing on a Mountain Goats album. There are even a couple tracks that have a punkier energy than we're used to, which isn't a bad move because that and the pent-up rage on the opener are enough to put this album's best foot forward. The whole track sounds like one of those self-affirming and powerful moments in a film where the hero gains the composure and the strength and the knowledge to take on the enemy or obstacle in front of him. Then John continues from this track with a pretty tight thematic focus with varying degrees of intensity and wit. The following Mark on You has some pretty mid-paced indie rock guitars soundtracking a story that reads like a less than satisfying ending, sort of an unfinished business type scenario, where John is still swearing revenge, saying he's going to leave a mark on you, meaning whoever it is he's trying to get back at. The pacing's a bit tedious, and the ending of the track isn't exactly conclusive. I think the baseline idea here is cool, but maybe it's missing something to give it that extra pop. And it's kind of funny, I found a similar issue on the track Make You Suffer, which is written with roughly the same attitude, this hunger for vengeance. Maybe in a slightly less direct angle this time around, but still redundant enough to get me scratching my head. Wage Wars, Get Rich, Die Handsome is probably the biggest thrill on the record, just on speed and riffs alone. The intro sounds like something that we're going to hear on the upcoming Off album. And on the lyrical side of this track, this is just peak Darnielle. We have a chorus depicting a quick burnout type of lifestyle, but then the verses are all about being steady and calculated and doing everything you can to survive, keeping your nose clean, and in a world of heavy footprints, be untraceable. Then there are a few pockets of saxophone rock on this thing too. Extraction Point, where it adds a bit of atmospheric tension to an already tediously paced song. Honestly, I think structurally this one could have used some shaking up. But the sax does bring a kind of sultry flavor on the track Guys on Every Corner, which sounds like something out of a scene from The Wire or The Sopranos, as John describes having faceless, generic-looking goons all over the place ready to do his bidding, make good on any threats he's made. John has always been great at writing from the perspective of somebody who is so far outside of himself that he's basically acting. Then Bones Don't Rust is one of those classic hanging on every word moments in the Mountain Goats catalog, where some mysterious chords and guitar leads sound like the opening theme to a moonlit spy movie. John's writing here is especially shadowy and dark. The sound, what he's saying, just matches up really well. However, First Blood I think is a bit of a miss on that front, where John's descriptions of trenches and various figures in movies and history not being quite what they seemed, yeah, that seems kind of out of place with the really peppy acoustic guitars and drums, and not in a way that creates a cute contrast either. However, that is exactly the contrast we do get on the really great closer Bleed Out, where we hear carefree acoustic guitars strummed as John describes his very bloody and unceremonious death. Nobody is rushing to save him. There will be a big spot where he once laid, and there will eventually be no spot there at all. He's going to tell his friends to go to hell and wish his enemies well. I'm pretty stuck on this track for the 7 minutes it lasts, and that's not typically the distance that we hear in a Mountain Goat song. And yet we get another track of that length on this LP with the song Hostages, which honestly could have been cut down quite a bit. The prolonged intro isn't doing much for the track, nor is the really sloppy and chaotic solo passage on the back end, and the pacing in between these 2 points removes all of the urgency and danger from a hostage situation. I think there's something to be desired from the track Incandescent Ruins as well. Point taken in John's cute commentary about understanding and seeing things based on how they are framed for you, but it just doesn't culminate into one of the stronger statements on this record, nor does it fit in as snugly with the overall themes as many of the other tracks do. Plus, I am really not into this campfire song guitar style that he's going for here. It's kind of rough. But yeah, overall I found this record to be a bit of a mixed bag. While I like that John came in with a larger amount of thematic focus than he has in the past few years, he didn't go in deep enough as he could, and the increased amount of electric guitars was kind of a cool change of pace, but even that could have been pushed further. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Mountain Goats, forever.